What if the peace you've been searching for was never outside you? What if the chaos in your life is only weather, and you are something far greater? Look at the sky. Storms tear across it. Clouds darken it. Thunder shakes the horizon. But the sky is never broken. It does not resist the storm. It does not chase the sunlight. It simply remains vast, silent, undisturbed. This is the mind the Buddha pointed toward. Not a mind without thoughts, not a life without pain, but a consciousness so open that nothing can stain it. Right now, your thoughts may be loud. Your emotions may feel heavy. Your past may feel overwhelming. But none of that is your true nature. You are not the storm. You are the sky. And when you remember this, deep peace is no longer something you chase. It becomes something you are. There is a quiet misunderstanding that follows most human beings from childhood into old age. We are taught to identify with whatever moves inside us. When anger arises, we say, "This is me." When sadness lingers, we whisper, "I am broken." When anxiety grips the chest, we conclude, "Something is wrong with who I am." And so, without realizing it, we begin building an identity out of passing weather. In the teachings of Gautama Buddha, this confusion is at the very root of suffering. The Buddha observed the mind with extraordinary precision. He saw that thoughts appear and disappear, emotions rise and fall, sensations bloom and fade. Yet beneath all of this movement, there is awareness itself, open, spacious, ungraspable, like the sky. Imagine standing in a vast valley at dawn. Above you stretches an endless blue expanse. Clouds drift slowly across it. Some are light and delicate. Others are thick and heavy with rain. But no matter how dense the clouds become, they never damage the sky. They do not leave scratches. They do not stain its nature. When the wind shifts, they dissolve, and the open space remains exactly as it always was. Your thoughts are the same. A thought of fear may pass through you. A memory of embarrassment may arise. A wave of anger may gather strength. But if you look closely, you will see that each of these experiences has a beginning, a middle, and an end. None of them stay. None of them are solid. None of them are permanent. Yet we cling to them as though they define us. This clinging is subtle. It happens so quickly that we rarely notice it. A harsh word from someone becomes, "They disrespected me." A failure becomes, "I am a failure." A single mistake becomes a lifelong identity. But the Buddha gently invited his students to observe more carefully. In meditation, he taught them to sit quietly and watch the mind the way one watches the sky. Not interfering, not suppressing, not chasing, simply noticing. When you sit and observe your breath, thoughts begin to surface. Plans for tomorrow, regrets from yesterday, fantasies, judgments, worries. At first, it feels overwhelming. The sky seems full of storms. But if you remain still and patient, something remarkable happens. You begin to see that you are not creating the thoughts. They simply appear, and if you do not grasp them, they dissolve on their own. This realization is revolutionary. If thoughts arise on their own and pass on their own, how can they be you? If anger flares up and then fades away, how can it be your permanent identity? The Buddha described this understanding through the teaching of Anicca, impermanence. Everything conditioned is in constant change. Every emotion, every sensation, every mental formation is like a cloud shaped by invisible winds. When we forget this, we panic during storms. We believe the darkness will never end. But when we remember impermanence, patience naturally grows. A mind like the sky does not try to eliminate clouds. It does not demand eternal sunshine. It allows, it observes. It understands that movement is natural. Consider how much suffering is created by resistance. When sadness arises, we resist it. When anxiety appears, we fight it. When uncomfortable thoughts emerge, we try to push them away, but resistance only thickens the clouds. The more we struggle, the more entangled we become. The Buddha's path is not about force, it is about insight. When you see clearly that thoughts are temporary events in awareness, you stop building a house inside every passing storm. This does not mean becoming passive or indifferent, it means becoming wise. Wisdom recognizes that emotions are teachers, not identities. Anger may reveal attachment. Fear may reveal clinging. Jealousy may reveal insecurity. But none of these define the vastness of your awareness. They are visitors, not owners. As you continue observing your inner world with mindfulness, a gentle distance begins to form. Not a cold distance, but a compassionate spaciousness. You begin to say, "There is anger present," instead of "I am angry." You notice fear is arising instead of "I am afraid." This subtle shift transforms your relationship with experience. The sky is no longer trying to become the cloud. It simply holds it. Over time, this practice cultivates equanimity, not because life becomes easier, but because your perspective becomes wider. Challenges still arise. Loss still happens. Pain still visits. But there is space around it now. Space to breathe. Space to observe. Space to respond instead of react. The Buddha never promised a life without storms. What he offered was freedom within them, a freedom born from understanding the true nature of the mind. When you stop identifying with every passing cloud, you discover a depth that cannot be shaken. You begin to sense that beneath all movement, there is stillness. Beneath all noise, there is silence. Beneath all weather, there is sky. And that sky has always been there. It was there before the anger. It was there before the fear. It will remain long after the storm has passed. The first step toward deep peace is not controlling the mind. It is recognizing its vastness. When you remember that you are the sky and not the clouds, suffering loosens its grip. You no longer feel trapped inside every emotion. You no longer mistake temporary weather for permanent truth. You begin to rest in openness, and in that openness, peace quietly begins to grow. Understanding that thoughts are like clouds is only the beginning. Even when we see that emotions come and go, we still feel shaken when life presses against us. A single harsh word can echo in the mind for days. A sudden loss can feel like the ground has disappeared beneath our feet. Praise can inflate us, and criticism can crush us. The storm may be temporary, but while it rages, it feels intensely real. This is where the deeper training begins. The Buddha described the awakened mind as being like a great mountain rock that cannot be moved by the wind. Storms may strike it from every direction, yet it remains steady, unmoved in its foundation. This is the quality of upekkhā, equanimity, a balanced heart that does not collapse under pain or cling desperately to pleasure. In ordinary life, we are constantly pushed and pulled by what the Buddha called the 8 worldly winds: pleasure and pain, gain and loss, praise and blame, fame and disrepute. When pleasure arrives, we chase it. When pain appears, we resist it. When someone praises us, we feel lifted. When blamed, we feel diminished. Our peace rises and falls according to circumstances, like a small boat tossed on restless waves. But equanimity is not the absence of feeling, it is the presence of understanding. It is the recognition that all conditioned experiences are impermanent. Praise fades, blame fades, success changes, failure changes, the body changes, emotions change, even relationships shift with time. When this truth is not deeply seen, the mind grasps tightly, trying to freeze what is pleasant and eliminate what is painful. This grasping is the true source of instability. Imagine a mountain standing beneath a wide sky. Rain pours over it, snow covers it, sunlight warms it. None of these conditions alter its essential nature. The mountain does not cling to sunshine or resist the snow. It allows each season to pass through its presence. This is the heart trained in equanimity. Such steadiness does not appear suddenly. It is cultivated slowly through mindfulness. In meditation, when discomfort arises in the body, the first impulse is to move. When boredom appears, the mind wants stimulation. When restlessness grows, we search for distraction. The practice invites something radical: remain, observe, feel fully without immediately reacting. As you sit with a difficult sensation and watch it carefully, you begin to see its true nature. It pulses, it shifts, it intensifies, it softens, it changes moment by moment. The discomfort that once felt solid is revealed to be dynamic. This insight weakens fear. The storm loses some of its power. The same is true for emotional pain. When sadness arises, instead of suppressing it or becoming lost in its story, mindfulness allows you to feel its texture directly. Where is it in the body? How does it move? Is it constant, or does it fluctuate? With gentle observation, you begin to notice that even strong emotions are not continuous blocks. They flicker, they breathe, they transform. Through this careful seeing, identification loosens. Instead of "I am devastated," there is "devastation is present." Instead of "I am angry," there is "anger is arising." This small shift creates enormous space. The emotion is acknowledged, respected, felt, but not possessed. Equanimity also reshapes how we relate to pleasure. Joy often carries a hidden tension, the fear of losing it. We grasp at happy moments, trying to make them last. Yet the tighter we cling, the more anxious we become. When pleasure is experienced with awareness and non-attachment, it becomes lighter. It is enjoyed fully, but without desperation. Gratitude replaces fear. The teaching of anattā, non-self, deepens this balance. What we call self is not a fixed entity controlling everything. It is a flow of processes, sensations, perceptions, mental formations, all arising dependent on conditions. When this is clearly seen, the need to defend a rigid identity softens. Criticism no longer threatens a solid me, because that solid me was never truly there to begin with. This insight does not make a person passive or indifferent. On the contrary, it allows action to arise from clarity rather than ego. When you are not defending an image of yourself, you can respond to situations with wisdom. When you are not drowning in your own reactivity, compassion for others becomes natural. Equanimity is deeply connected to compassion. A heart that is constantly agitated cannot truly support others. But a heart grounded like a mountain can stand beside suffering without being consumed by it. It can listen without judgment. It can help without attachment to outcome. Over time, something subtle changes within. Situations that once triggered intense reactions begin to create only gentle ripples. Words that once wounded deeply lose their sharpness. Fear still arises, but it does not dominate the entire mind. Grief still appears, but it moves through spacious awareness rather than suffocating it. This is the quiet strength of a balanced mind. Life does not become free of storms. Challenges continue. Loss remains part of the human experience. Uncertainty does not disappear, but the foundation beneath experience becomes stable. There is trust in impermanence. There is acceptance of change. There is confidence that whatever arises will also pass. The sky remains open. The mountain remains grounded. And within that vastness and stability, deep peace begins to settle, not as a fragile mood, but as a steady presence that cannot easily be shaken. Equanimity brings stability, but there is a deeper layer still, a discovery so subtle that it changes the entire way experience is perceived. It is the realization that awareness itself is never damaged by what passes through it. When a painful memory arises, the mind reacts as if something has been wounded. When shame appears, it feels as though the core of the self has been stained. When fear surges, it seems as if the ground of being is trembling. But if one looks very closely, not with intellect alone, but with sustained mindfulness, something astonishing becomes visible. The pain is felt, the fear is experienced, the memory is seen, yet the awareness that knows these experiences remains unchanged. This insight is at the heart of deep Buddhist practice. In the Satipatthana Sutta, the Buddha instructed practitioners to observe body, feelings, mind, and mental phenomena simply as they are, arising and passing, without clinging, without resistance, without identifying them as mine or me. The instruction sounds simple, but its depth is immeasurable. Sit quietly for a moment and observe a single breath. Notice the cool air entering. Notice the subtle pause. Notice the warm air leaving. That which knows the breath, does it have shape? Does it have age? Does it have weight? Thoughts may comment, but the knowing itself remains silent. Now imagine anger arising. The body tightens. The heart beats faster. Thoughts form narratives. Yet something is aware of all of this. That awareness does not become red or hot. It does not contract. It simply knows. This knowing is like the open sky. Storms move within it, but the sky is not pierced by lightning. Clouds gather, but they do not leave scars. The vastness remains intact. Most suffering arises because we collapse awareness into the experience. We do not see anger. We become anger. We do not observe fear. We are consumed by fear. But when mindfulness is strong, a subtle distance appears, not a cold separation, but a spacious clarity. Emotions are felt fully, yet they are not confused with the nature of awareness itself. The Buddha often used the metaphor of space. Space allows everything to exist within it, mountains, rivers, cities, forests, yet it clings to none of them. It is unstained by what it contains. In the same way, awareness allows sensations, thoughts, and feelings to arise within it without being altered by their presence. To realize this directly is liberating. Consider grief. When loss touches your life, the heart aches deeply, tears come. The body feels heavy, thoughts loop endlessly around what has been lost. If one resists this grief, it intensifies. If one identifies completely with it, it overwhelms. But if grief is held in mindful awareness, something extraordinary happens. The pain is honored, yet there is also space around it. The awareness that holds grief is not broken by it. This is not spiritual bypassing. It is not denying pain. It is experiencing pain with clarity rather than drowning in it. In deep meditation, practitioners sometimes notice that thoughts arise spontaneously. A memory appears without invitation. A plan for tomorrow forms without effort. Even the sense of I am thinking dissolves into a process that simply happens. Seeing this directly weakens the illusion of control and the illusion of a fixed self. Experience unfolds according to causes and conditions. When awareness recognizes its own vastness, grasping begins to fade naturally. Why cling to a passing cloud when you are the sky? Why defend every opinion when opinions are transient formations? Why fear every change when change is the nature of conditioned existence? This insight aligns with the teaching of Shunyata, emptiness, found deeply within Mahayana traditions. Emptiness does not mean nothing exists. It means that phenomena lack inherent, independent essence. They arise interdependently, sustained by countless causes. Anger depends on perception, memory, bodily sensation, cultural conditioning. Remove the conditions, and the anger cannot remain. Seeing this interdependent nature softens rigidity. You begin to understand that even your most intense emotions are not personal failures, but conditioned events. Compassion naturally arises for yourself and for others, because you see that everyone is moving through their own web of conditions. As this wisdom matures, life becomes lighter, not because difficulties vanish, but because the burden of identification weakens. You still feel joy, but you do not cling to it. You still feel sadness, but you do not define yourself by it. You still act in the world, but without the heavy armor of ego. There is a profound relaxation in this realization. The need to constantly defend, justify, and protect an imagined self begins to dissolve. In its place, there is openness, presence, a quiet confidence that awareness itself is untouched by passing storms. Even when anxiety surges, there is a part of you that simply knows anxiety is here. Even when anger flares, there is awareness recognizing anger is arising. That recognition is already freedom. It is the space that cannot be wounded. Over time, this understanding stabilizes into deep peace. Not a passive peace, but a vibrant stillness that coexists with movement. The world continues its dance of gain and loss, praise and blame, pleasure and pain. But beneath it all, awareness remains vast and clear. Like the sky at night, even when clouds cover the stars are still there. Even when storms darken the horizon, the sky has not disappeared. It simply waits, patient and open, until the clouds move on. The practice is not about forcing the clouds away. It is about recognizing the sky that was always present. And when that recognition becomes steady, something extraordinary unfolds. You stop trying to control every weather pattern of life. You rest in the knowing that whatever arises will pass, and whatever passes leaves the vastness untouched. This is the peace the Buddha pointed toward, a peace not dependent on conditions, not shaken by change, not wounded by storms. Even after recognizing that thoughts are clouds and awareness is the sky, there remains a subtle habit that binds the heart, the belief that we must control the weather. We try to arrange life perfectly. We try to manage every outcome. We try to secure permanent happiness in a world built upon impermanence. And when reality refuses to obey, suffering quietly grows. The Buddha saw clearly that this grasping for control is rooted in ignorance, not ignorance in the sense of stupidity, but in the sense of not seeing things as they truly are. We believe stability can be forced. We believe certainty can be guaranteed. We believe that if we just think correctly, act perfectly, or plan carefully enough, we can avoid loss, avoid pain, avoid change. But impermanence does not negotiate. The seasons shift without asking permission. Youth transforms into age. Health changes. Relationships evolve. Success fades. Circumstances rearrange themselves according to countless conditions beyond our command. To resist this reality is to exhaust the heart endlessly. Imagine standing beneath the sky and attempting to command the clouds. Do not rain today. Stay golden forever. Never darken. No matter how desperately one shouts, the sky does not obey personal preference. Weather moves according to causes and conditions. In the same way, life unfolds through interdependent processes far beyond the control of a single ego. The Buddha's teaching of dependent origination, Paccaya Samuppada, reveals this clearly. Nothing arises independently. Every experience is woven from causes, past actions, environmental influences, bodily conditions, mental habits, social structures, and countless unseen factors. When anger appears, it is not a singular event chosen by a solid self. It is the result of conditioning. When joy arises, it too depends on circumstances. Seeing this deeply weakens the illusion of total control. Control promises safety. Letting go feels terrifying. Yet paradoxically, letting go is where true safety is found. When you stop fighting impermanence, something relaxes inside. The body softens, the breath deepens, the mind releases its tight grip. You begin to move with life instead of against it. This does not mean passivity or indifference. It means responding wisely rather than reacting blindly. Consider how much suffering is born from resistance. When change arrives, the mind says, "This should not be happening." When loss occurs, the mind insists, "This must not be real." When plans collapse, frustration tightens the chest. The more we argue with reality, the more tension builds. But what if reality is not the enemy? The Buddha did not teach resignation. He taught alignment with truth. Impermanence is not a flaw in existence. It is its nature. When we resist impermanence, we suffer. When we understand impermanence, we adapt. And when we deeply accept impermanence, peace emerges. Letting go does not mean abandoning effort. It means releasing attachment to outcome. You still act with intention. You still speak with care. You still pursue wholesome goals. But your inner stability no longer depends on results. Success does not inflate you. Failure does not destroy you. You offer your actions into the world and allow causes and conditions to unfold. This is freedom. In meditation, this freedom becomes tangible. A thought arises. The impulse is to follow it, analyze it, argue with it, or suppress it. But instead, you let it pass. Another thought appears. Again, you release it. Slowly, the habit of clinging weakens. You begin to experience awareness without constant interference. At first, this feels unfamiliar. The mind has been trained for years to grasp, judge, compare, and control. To sit quietly and allow experience to unfold without manipulation feels almost unnatural. But with patience, the nervous system learns safety in stillness. There is a moment in deep practice when one sees clearly that the attempt to control thoughts actually strengthens them. Trying to push fear away gives it more power. Trying to suppress anger intensifies it. The more we resist the storm, the more violent it feels. But when resistance drops, the storm often loses intensity on its own. This does not mean emotions disappear instantly. It means they are allowed to complete their natural cycle. Like a wave rising and falling back into the ocean, feelings move through awareness when not obstructed by grasping. Letting go also transforms relationships. Much of relational suffering arises from trying to control others, their behavior, their opinions, their emotional states. We want them to validate us, agree with us, act according to our expectations. When they do not, frustration grows. But others, like clouds, move according to their own conditions. They carry their own histories, fears, desires, and wounds. When we release the need to shape them into our preferences, compassion becomes possible. We can engage without domination. We can love without possession. Even the sense of my life begins to soften. The Buddha's teaching of non-self invites us to examine the assumption that there is a permanent controller at the center of experience. Thoughts arise without being summoned. Emotions appear without being scheduled. The heart beats without command. Breathing continues even during sleep. What we call self is more like a process than a fixed entity. When this is seen, the burden of self-management lightens. There is less pressure to be perfect, less anxiety about maintaining an image, less fear of being exposed as flawed. Life becomes an unfolding rather than a performance. Deep peace is not found by eliminating uncertainty. It is found by relaxing into it. Imagine floating on water. If you tense and thrash, you sink. If you relax and trust the buoyancy, the water holds you. Letting go is like that relaxation. Reality supports you when you stop fighting it. As insight deepens, even death is seen through a new lens. The body is impermanent. All forms dissolve. But clinging to permanence has never prevented change. Accepting impermanence allows life to be lived more fully, more gently, more gratefully. There is great courage in surrender, not surrender to despair, but surrender to truth. It takes strength to release control. It takes wisdom to accept change. But in that surrender, a profound stability emerges. Not the stability of fixed circumstances, but the stability of a mind aligned with reality. The sky does not control the clouds. The ocean does not command the waves. The mountain does not resist the seasons. And yet they endure. When you stop trying to hold the entire sky in your hands are free. When you stop fighting every cloud, your heart is lighter. When you release the illusion that peace depends on perfect conditions, peace begins to reveal itself as your natural state. A mind like the sky does not conquer life. It allows life, and in that allowing it discovers a depth of freedom that no storm can steal. When the mind begins to understand impermanence, when it loosens its grip on control, when it sees thoughts and emotions as passing weather, something extraordinary begins to unfold. What first appeared as detachment slowly transforms into warmth. What first felt like spaciousness becomes tenderness. From the vast sky of awareness, compassion naturally arises. This is not forced kindness. It is not moral obligation. It is not an attempt to appear virtuous. It is the natural fragrance of a mind no longer trapped in itself. In the early teachings, the Buddha spoke of the four Brahmaviharas, the four divine abodes of the awakened heart: loving kindness, metta, compassion, kruddha, sympathetic joy, mudita, and equanimity, upekkhā. These qualities are not separate practices, they flow into one another. Equanimity stabilizes the heart, compassion softens it, loving kindness opens it, sympathetic joy uplifts it. When the illusion of a rigid, isolated self begins to dissolve, separation weakens. You start to see that just as your anger arises from causes and conditions, so does another person's harshness. Just as your fear has roots in past experiences, so does another person's defensiveness. Just as your confusion comes from ignorance, so does theirs. Suddenly, enemies look different. They are no longer villains in your personal story. They are beings caught in their own storms. Imagine standing beneath the vast sky after deep meditation. A person speaks sharply to you. In the past, this might have triggered immediate anger, but now there is space. In that space you see their tension, their exhaustion, their unspoken pain. You see that their words are clouds passing through their own sky. Compassion arises not because you are superior, but because you understand. This understanding grows from insight into dukkha, the truth that conditioned existence contains unsatisfactoriness. Every being, no matter how confident or powerful, is vulnerable to aging, sickness, and death. Every person experiences fear, loss, longing, and confusion. Even those who harm others are driven by craving, ignorance, or pain. When you truly see this, the heart softens. Compassion does not mean allowing harm. It does not mean tolerating injustice. It means responding from wisdom rather than hatred. It means acting firmly when necessary, but without venom in the heart. It means setting boundaries without losing humanity. A mind like the sky has room for compassion because it is not overcrowded by ego. Ego constantly asks, how does this affect me? Am I respected? Am I winning? Am I safe? But when awareness becomes vast, these questions lose their urgency. The heart expands beyond self-centered concern. It begins to care not only about personal comfort, but about collective well-being. This is why deep meditation often leads to spontaneous acts of kindness. When the noise of self-obsession quiets, sensitivity increases. You notice suffering more quickly. You respond more gently. You speak more carefully. Compassion also extends inward. Many people misunderstand Buddhist practice as harsh discipline. They believe awakening requires self-criticism or emotional suppression. But the Buddha's path is deeply compassionate. When you observe your own fear, you do not condemn it. You hold it gently. When shame arises, you do not attack yourself. You understand its conditions. You begin to treat your own mind the way you would treat a frightened child, with patience and care. This inner compassion is powerful. It heals the constant war between who you are and who you think you should be. Instead of striving endlessly to perfect yourself, you cultivate wisdom. Instead of hating your flaws, you study them. Instead of resisting pain, you sit beside it. The more you practice this, the more natural compassion becomes. There is also a profound shift in how you experience joy. When self-centered grasping weakens, another person's happiness does not trigger envy, it triggers delight. This is mudita, sympathetic joy, the ability to celebrate others without comparison. You recognize that their success does not diminish your worth. There is space for everyone under the sky. In this way, the vast mind becomes a refuge not only for yourself, but for others. People feel safe around someone who is not reactive. They feel seen by someone who listens without judgment. They feel comforted by someone who does not project unresolved storms onto them. A calm presence has ripple effects beyond words. Compassion does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it is a quiet pause before speaking. Sometimes it is choosing not to escalate an argument. Sometimes it is offering silent understanding when someone cannot explain their pain. Sometimes it is forgiving yourself for not being perfect. The Buddha compared the compassionate heart to a mother protecting her only child. This image is not sentimental. It is powerful. A mother's protection arises from love, not ego. In the same way, awakened compassion protects life because it sees interconnection. Interconnection is the natural conclusion of emptiness. If nothing exists independently, then everything is woven together. Your well-being is tied to others. Their suffering touches you. Your actions influence countless unseen conditions. When this is deeply understood, ethical behavior is no longer a rule imposed from outside. It becomes an expression of clarity. You refrain from harming because harming others ultimately disturbs your own peace. You cultivate kindness because kindness stabilizes the mind. Compassion strengthens equanimity rather than weakening it. Without equanimity, compassion can become overwhelming. Without compassion, equanimity can become cold. Together they create balance, a heart that cares deeply without drowning in suffering. As the practice matures, you may notice that even your relationship with difficult people changes. Instead of replaying arguments endlessly in your mind, you feel curiosity. Instead of harboring resentment, you feel understanding. Instead of wishing for revenge, you wish for healing. This does not happen overnight. It unfolds gradually, like a lotus opening petal by petal at dawn. The sky remains vast. The mountain remains steady. And now the heart becomes warm. Deep peace is not isolation from the world. It is intimacy with it, without attachment, without fear, without hostility. When the mind is no longer consumed by personal storms, it becomes capable of embracing the storms of others without collapsing. It becomes a quiet refuge. It becomes a steady light. Compassion is not something you manufacture. It is what naturally shines when ignorance fades. A mind like the sky does not only remain undisturbed, it also shelters everything beneath it. There is a final layer of restlessness that hides beneath even the most refined practice. It is quieter than anger, more subtle than fear, more persistent than desire. It is the constant movement of becoming, the endless attempt to turn this moment into something else. Even when the mind understands impermanence, even when equanimity grows, even when compassion softens the heart, there remains a subtle current that whispers, I must become better. I must reach enlightenment. I must secure permanent peace. This movement seems spiritual. It seems noble. But if examined closely, it carries the same tension as craving. It is still grasping, only now grasping at awakening. The Buddha saw this with extraordinary clarity. He discovered that suffering is not only born from desire for pleasure or aversion to pain, it is also born from the craving for existence and the craving for non-existence, the desire to become something and the desire to escape something. This endless becoming is what keeps the wheel of dissatisfaction turning. Look closely at your own experience. Notice how rarely the mind rests in simple being. When sitting quietly, it plans. When working, it anticipates reward. When resting, it searches for stimulation. Even during meditation, the mind evaluates, is this working? Am I progressing? Is this deep enough? Becoming never feels complete. It always promises peace in the next moment, but the next moment never arrives as imagined. The sky does not try to become a better sky. The ocean does not try to become a better ocean. The mountain does not strive to become more mountain. They simply are. In deep meditation, there are moments when the urge to improve dissolves. There is just breathing, just hearing, just awareness. No comparison, no measurement, no ambition. These moments feel profoundly simple, almost ordinary, yet they carry an unmistakable stillness. This stillness is not created. It is revealed when becoming stops. The Buddha called this cessation, not annihilation, but the ending of craving. When craving fades, even briefly, the mind tastes a freedom beyond conditions. There is no pushing away, no pulling toward, no constructing identity, just clarity. Many practitioners overlook this subtle trap. They meditate intensely, striving for mystical experiences. They chase blissful states. They seek extraordinary visions. But these too are clouds. They arise, they pass, and chasing them strengthens becoming. True peace is quieter than ecstasy. It is the absence of agitation. It is the gentle sufficiency of this moment as it is. Imagine sitting beneath the night sky. The stars shimmer without effort. The air is cool. There is nothing to achieve, nothing to correct, nothing missing. The mind rests naturally because it is not trying to rearrange reality. This is what the Buddha pointed toward, not a dramatic transformation of the world, but a transformation in relationship to it. When becoming slows, fear also weakens. Fear is often rooted in imagined futures, the possibility of failure, loss, humiliation, or death. But when awareness is grounded in present reality, those imagined futures lose intensity. The breath becomes the anchor. The body becomes the home. Experience unfolds moment by moment, rather than as a projected story. Even identity begins to loosen. Notice how much effort goes into maintaining a consistent self-image. We defend opinions to protect identity. We rehearse conversations to preserve pride. We worry about reputation to secure belonging. Becoming is tied to this fragile self-concept. But when non-self is understood deeply, not as theory, but as lived insight, identity becomes lighter. You no longer feel compelled to prove your worth in every interaction. You no longer fear being imperfect. You no longer cling to labels. Without the pressure of becoming someone special, ordinary life becomes extraordinary. Drinking tea becomes enough. Walking becomes enough. Breathing becomes enough. This simplicity is radical in a world addicted to improvement. It does not mean abandoning growth. It means releasing attachment to identity through growth. You can learn, evolve, and refine your character without constructing a rigid me around it. As becoming dissolves, gratitude arises naturally. Gratitude for breath. Gratitude for awareness. Gratitude for the fleeting miracle of existence. There is humility here, a recognition that life is not owned, it is received. Each moment appears without personal authorship. The heart beats without command. The sun rises without request. The body ages without permission. When this is fully accepted, resistance fades, and in the absence of resistance, there is stillness. This stillness is not dull. It is vibrant. It is awake. It is deeply alive. Sounds are clearer. Colors are richer. Sensations are more vivid. Because the mind is no longer preoccupied with becoming, it is free to fully inhabit being. The Buddha described the awakened mind as unbound, unbound from craving, unbound from hatred, unbound from delusion. This unbinding does not remove you from the world. It allows you to move within it without chains. Storms may still appear, pleasure may still arise, loss may still occur, but the compulsion to control, grasp, and become weakens dramatically. What remains is quiet presence, a presence that does not chase the future, a presence that does not rewrite the past, a presence that rests fully in what is here. This is the deepest expression of a mind like the sky. The sky does not strive. The sky does not compare. The sky does not become. It simply holds everything. And when the human mind learns this same simplicity, when it releases the endless hunger to become something more, it discovers a peace that is not dependent on progress, not dependent on achievement, not dependent on conditions, a peace that is already complete, a peace that was never absent, a peace that quietly waits beneath the noise of becoming. This is true stillness, and it has always been within you. There comes a stage in practice where peace is no longer something you experience only in meditation. It begins to move with you. It walks beside you in conversations. It breathes with you in difficulty. It remains present even when uncertainty arises. But there is one final barrier that often lingers quietly beneath the surface of the human heart: fear. Fear of loss, fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of death. Even with insight into impermanence, even with compassion awakened, even with the loosening of becoming, fear can remain as a subtle shadow. It whispers that something essential could be taken away. It suggests that the ground beneath you is not safe. It keeps the nervous system slightly tense, slightly guarded. The Buddha did not ignore fear. He faced it directly. On the night of his awakening, according to the ancient texts, he sat beneath the Bodhi tree while powerful inner and outer disturbances arose. Temptation, doubt, threat. The forces of Mara symbolized everything that pulls the mind away from clarity. Yet he did not run. He did not fight. He did not suppress. He remained. This remaining is the heart of fearlessness. Fear thrives in resistance. It grows stronger when we try to escape it. But when awareness turns gently toward fear and observes it carefully, something begins to shift. The racing heartbeat is felt. The tightening in the stomach is noticed. The thoughts predicting disaster are seen as thoughts. Fear becomes an experience, not an identity. Like all phenomena, it arises dependent on causes and conditions. It peaks, it changes, it fades. When you observe fear without becoming it, you discover something extraordinary. Awareness itself is not afraid. The body may tremble, the mind may imagine, but the knowing of those experiences remains steady. This is profound. If awareness is not afraid, then fear cannot define you. Consider how much of life is shaped by avoidance. We avoid difficult conversations to escape discomfort. We avoid risks to prevent failure. We avoid vulnerability to protect pride. Fear narrows the sky of the mind until it feels small and enclosed. But when the mind understands impermanence deeply, fear loosens. What is there to protect so desperately in a world where everything changes? What identity must be defended when identity itself is a fluid process? What permanence can be secured in a reality woven from conditions? This insight does not create recklessness. It creates courage grounded in wisdom. Courage in Buddhism is not loud, it is not aggressive. It is the quiet willingness to experience life fully without running from it. A mind like the sky does not hide from storms. It allows them to pass through. A fearless heart is not a heart without sensation. It is a heart that does not cling to safety as the highest good. Even death, the greatest fear of the human mind, is transformed under this understanding. The Buddha taught that clinging to the body as a permanent self is a source of suffering. The body changes from infancy to youth, from youth to adulthood, from adulthood to old age. Cells replace themselves. Thoughts shift, memories fade. What we call me is already in constant transformation. Death, then, is not a sudden interruption of permanence. It is part of the ongoing flow of conditions. When this is deeply contemplated, not intellectually, but through meditation on impermanence, fear begins to soften. The urgency to grasp life tightly eases. Life becomes precious, not because it can be controlled, but because it is fleeting. You begin to live more honestly. You speak truthfully because you are less afraid of disapproval. You love more openly because you are less afraid of loss. You forgive more easily because you are less afraid of vulnerability. Fear loses its dominance because the illusion of a solid, threatened self weakens. This freedom from fear is not dramatic. It is subtle. It appears in small moments, when you choose patience over reaction, when you allow silence instead of defending yourself, when you sit calmly with uncertainty rather than demanding answers. The breath becomes your companion. In moments of anxiety, you return to it. In moments of grief, you rest with it. In moments of joy, you savor it. Breath anchors you in the present, the only place where fear cannot dominate. Fear lives in imagined futures or clung to pasts. In direct experience of this moment, there is only sensation, sound, light, and awareness. Nothing to defend, nothing to secure, nothing to escape. As fear diminishes, gratitude deepens. You begin to see each sunrise as a gift rather than a guarantee. Each conversation as precious rather than routine. Each heartbeat as miraculous rather than automatic. There is also a profound humility in this freedom. You recognize that life is not owned. It flows through you. You participate in it, but you do not possess it. This recognition removes arrogance and softens pride. It replaces them with reverence. The awakened heart is both strong and gentle. It stands firm in wisdom, yet bends with compassion. It does not deny suffering, yet it is not overwhelmed by it. It does not cling to pleasure, yet it appreciates it fully. This is true fearlessness, not the absence of storms, but the knowledge that storms cannot destroy the sky. As this understanding matures, something remarkable happens. Peace becomes unshakable, not because circumstances stabilize, but because your relationship to them transforms completely. Gain and loss move through you. Praise and blame touch you lightly. Pleasure and pain ripple across awareness without drowning it. The sky remains. The mountain remains. The heart remains open. There is no longer a desperate need to control life. There is no longer an urgent fear of what may come. There is trust in impermanence. There is confidence in awareness. There is compassion for all beings walking their own fragile paths. This is the culmination of a mind like the sky, vast, steady, fearless, compassionate, free. And in this freedom, deep peace is not something you achieve. It is something you uncover, something that was always present, waiting patiently beneath the clouds. The sky was never broken, and neither were you. Close your eyes for a moment. Feel the breath enter. Feel it leave. Notice how effortlessly life is happening. The heart is beating without your command. The breath is flowing without your control. Thoughts are rising and dissolving like mist in morning light. All this time you believed you had to fight the storm. All this time you believed peace was something to achieve. All this time you believed you were the clouds, but you were always the sky. The anger that once felt permanent, it passed. The grief that once felt unbearable, it softened. The fear that once felt overwhelming, it changed. Yet something remained. Awareness remained. Presence remained. The vastness remained. This is the quiet miracle the Buddha pointed toward, not an escape from life, but a freedom within it. Not the destruction of emotion, but the understanding of its nature. Not perfection, but peace. When you stop chasing becoming, when you stop resisting impermanence, when you stop identifying with every passing cloud, you rediscover what was never lost. A mind open like the sky, a heart steady like the mountain, a presence gentle like falling rain. Storms will still come, but now you know they cannot wound the sky. Walk gently in this world, speak softly, breathe consciously, and whenever the clouds gather again, remember, you are not the weather, you are the vast, boundless sky in which all weather appears. And in that remembering, deep peace is already here,